There we go. Good evening, everyone. We'll call the December 17th, 2018 meeting of Lincoln Park Mayor and City Council. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Doug Wells of the Lincoln Park Church of Christ. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, you are an awesome God, and we love and respect you as being the one who is above all. God, I'm so grateful that there is a group of leaders here who acknowledge that you are a wonderful God. And Lord, I pray that they look to you for wisdom and guidance in making all the decisions that they have to make. Lord, we pray for those who are struggling at this time, dealing with death, God, dealing with that struggle where we are parted from people that we love. We especially pray for John Griggs right now, who has lost his father. Lord, be with him and comfort him, I pray, that help him to see that you have a plan through all this, even though it's difficult in times like this. And Lord, we pray also for Nancy Carnes and her family. Lord, please be with them as they deal with the loss of Nancy. Comfort them, help them to trust in your love. And Lord, we just pray that everything in this meeting goes well, that wise decisions are made, and that you are brought glory by what is done and what is said here. Lord, I pray for unity, and I pray for a blessing to all those in every role who serve this city and who serve you. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. It's always the best way to start off the meeting, in my opinion. If we could have roll call, please.
Councilpersons Breeding.
Present.
Higgins.
Present.
Kelsey.
Here.
Parkinson.
Here.
Ross. Here. Salcedo.
Present.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here. All right. Here we are. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year in advance for everyone. We have these hats that were dropped off, and we'll do a short rendition for the folks at Great Lakes Ace who dropped this by. But
Yep. Very nice.
tomorrow at the high school, I promise to be wearing that all day, so that'll be good for those purposes. Remember, folks, that Fantasyland is still ongoing. So starting Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it'll be open from 4 to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, I believe, are from 2 to 8 p.m. And I'll have to check for the Christmas Eve hours. I know that they're limited. I believe that it is from like 11 to 1 on Christmas Eve, but don't quote me. It'll be on our website information. We have the person that probably is one of the best known people in the city of Lincoln Park, and one that I'm sure knows all the secrets and gossips anyway. Vito Salmon from Sal's Barbershop is retiring at the end of this month, and we have a little proclamation for him that I'll be delivering there. I'm due for a cut anyway, right? Whereas Vito Salmon has manned a chair at his business, Sal's Barbershop, located at 3605 Fort Street in Lincoln Park, Michigan, for 47 years. Whereas after talking to and cutting upwards of 100,000 heads for this community, Vito will retire on Saturday, December 22nd, 2018. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Thomas E. Carnes, along with the City Council and citizens of Lincoln Park, do hereby extend our sincere appreciation to Vito Salmon for his years of service to our city and wish him a happy and fulfilling retirement surrounded by family and friends. So we make sure that he gets that and thank him for his service. That has been the place to be for years and years and years. This past Saturday, we had breakfast with Santa at the bandshell. It was attended by, I believe, around 90 folks. Santa and Mrs. Claus were there, and it was a very nice event. Meal was served. Santa and Mrs. Claus read some stories and met with each individual table, a group, and then we sojourned over to Fantasyland, and it was opened up just for those folks at that particular time. So it was a very nice event that was put on. Thanks for the organizers for that. And we did a little bit something different this year. The Community Improvement Commission decided to put out a contest for holiday lights. And they went door to door on the ones that they thought made a nice display, and then put it up for a vote. The first vote was to get it down to the final 16, which they did, and then it was for the top 3. And of the top 3, there were 5,000, almost 5,000 votes cast. Now that's quite a nice sampling, I think, on there. Kim Comer, who is the president of the CIC, handmade our awards for this. So this will be first, second, and third prize. And they have a small gift card for a Lincoln Perk also as part. I think first place gets 15, 10, and then 5. So it's very, very nice event. The winners, I'm sure everyone is just waiting to hear. In third place, receiving 10% of the votes, was 1711 Ford Boulevard. And then in second place, with 23% of the vote, was 1477 P as in Paul Paris. And then our winner for this Light Up Lincoln Park 2018 is 1524 Champaign, who got 26% of the vote. So 1524 Champaign. Any of those folks, homeowners in the audience with us tonight? Seeing none, then
We should give them a hand.
yes, absolutely. And if you go to the Community Improvement Commission's Facebook page, you'll be able to see pictures of the homes and have an opportunity to drive by. The prizes, along with the gift cards, will be delivered to the households later on this week. And thank you for all those who participated and all those who voted on what we hope to become an annual holiday event. All right, and with that, then I will move on to the consent agenda.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We were going to have a picture, I thought, with Simone before we get further. I don't know if the city manager told you that or not.
Did not.
Yeah, I figured he did. Before we get too much, excuse me, I just didn't want to get it too far
Oh,
until we could.
Well, that's all right. With the whole council? Is
Yes.
it- Okay.
Yeah, we were going to do that because we didn't get a chance last time. So then we can go from there, if that's okay with the mayor and the council and that.
Sure. I would,
All right.
well,
Come on.
Take a picture.
who's our photographer here?
Yeah, okay, there
Chris,
you
of
go. Or
course.
Joyce can do it, yeah. Chris, yeah.
You get one too.
Got your thing? Did you bring your
Bring your
thing?
certificate.
Your certificate? Oh, jeez.
All right, well, I would suggest that,
There you go.
Should we stand?
Yep, get around and take a nice picture.
There so you can get.
well, I think that we would do it in this corner over here. That way our,
Matt, coming?
no,
We can go over for the.
no, you're fine. You're fine. We're gonna have you right in front. Right there, and
You sit up here, you gotta get your picture taken.
Yeah, you gotta take your, stand right there and I'll stand
Get a
between
pretty
here.
up the picture with all
Oh, I get to hide behind the chair. I'll be thin.
I was
Pull the chair over,
gonna
pull the chair over and get back in here.
move the chair up.
No, I'm gonna stand behind it,
Okay.
I'll be thin.
Then let's have,
want a chair too.
Yeah, you want a chair too then, yeah.
well, we have enough. There's about 8 of them, so we,
Former Lincoln Parker on Jeopardy. And Wayne State grad. That's more important now, is that. Yeah, that They mentioned urban walking.
Good, thank you.
All right, that's good, all right.
I thought you were waiting for somebody to say
Everybody.
cheese.
just gonna say, which one is it?
And ladies and gentlemen, if you would not mind showing your appreciation for the work that Simone has done, and
Should have stood behind the chair. Thank you.
I thought I broke one of those bulbs, I'd be in very, very bad trouble. All right, then we'll move on to our consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held December 3, 2018. 2, approved minutes, special meeting held December 3, 2018, RE flood litigation. 3, accept minutes, study session, Justice Center study held December 3, 2018. 4, accept election results certified by county. 5, approve Jack Frost Jamboree February 1 and 2, 2019.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, and as been pointed out to me, this circled item here, next we have our audit presentation. And we have Plant Moran, who will be making our presentation, including one of the newest partners for Plant Moran, I might add.
Very good.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the opportunity to present the results of the June 30th, 2018 financial statement audit for the city of Lincoln Park. I have with me this evening Justin Colbo. He is the audit manager on our engagement. My name's Kristen Hunt. I'm the audit partner for the engagement. It's really a pleasure to be able to work with the city. Before we get started, I'd really like to express my thanks to the finance director and the city manager for all their cooperation throughout the process. There's a significant amount of information requests and information that they need to pull for us so that we can perform our audit, and we had full access to all the information that we needed, and everything was provided in a timely manner. Really makes things go smoothly, and we really appreciate all of their help. So I'm pleased to present to let you know that this year you received an unmodified opinion. So that's a clean audit opinion. That's the highest form of assurance that we can provide. So that's a good report card. You might have noticed, or you might remember, for the past couple of years, we've had a modified opinion, and it's for one specific matter that related to the retiree health care, the liability for that. So with the suspension of the retiree health care and the uncertainty that surrounded that over the past few years, that liability had not been adjusted. So it had remained the same manner that it was over the past several years while it was undergoing litigation. And in the current year, the city got a new actuarial valuation to really value what the liability is for the stipend payments that are being paid to retirees at this point. So that had an overall positive outcome on your overall bottom line on the combined financial statements. That's with everything pulled together. That would have been a $10 million increase. So in the past, there would have been a $17 million liability for the retiree health care, and now that's down to about $6 million with a stipend. So the way it was valued under the old way where it was last year was not the total unfunded portion of what that liability was. It was really the deficiency in the actuarial contributions. So the state law requires that you make the pension contributions each year, but it does not require that you make the healthcare contributions. So those just accumulated deficiencies in the actuarial contributions. That's what that $17 million represented. So now that that's down to $6 million, that had a positive impact on the overall bottom line. So just keep in mind with any changes that you might make to that stipend benefit, if there's any increases in that over the timing, that would have an impact on that liability. Overall, things like interest rates, life expectancies, and the dollar values of the stipends that you provide is what goes into that calculation to come up with what that liability would be. The pension plans, so the city's pension plans, you have two pension plans. Remember, you have the MERS plan for the municipal employees, and then you also have the police and fire pension plans. Those two systems both had a little bit of an increase this year. They both, the funded status increased by about 3% each, but they're both still under 30% funded. So that's something that as you move forward and have some positive outcomes, that's something to keep an eye on that. As it relates to the general fund, so the general fund would just have your current assets and liabilities and your current activities, so it wouldn't have those pension liabilities recorded within those. The general fund had a really good year again. You were able to add over $600,000 to fund balance this year, and so I think that's about the third year in a row that you've been able to add steadily to your fund balance. And as Justin goes through some of the graphs that we have that give you the revenue expenditure trends, you'll see that you've got about 18% of 1 year's worth of expenditures in your general fund now set aside kind of as a cushion, as an unrestricted unassigned amount. Really a good target to have is at least between the 15 and 20% range. So you're now really in a comfortable range of being able to have some funds set aside that you're able to respond when there's emergencies. So if you just think about how far you've come, if you look back to 2015, just 3 years ago, I think there was less than 1% in that unassigned fund balance. So just having this few years here of just some steady increases has really stabilized the general fund. So that's very positive as well. The general fund was also within budget this year, so that helped contribute to that additional savings that you were able to add to fund balance. Another thing to note is that the governmental activities really has very little debt for a city your size. You only have about $600,000 in governmental activities debt, and that really relates to some loans that you have for some heavy equipment or heavy vehicles that you have for your public works department. So you're managing that well. So aside from that pension debt that you have, really not any other significant governmental debt, you do have some water and sewer debt that would be normal. Most of it's related to the downriver sewage disposal system. So overall, things are definitely looking up. Some things you'll want to keep in mind as you keep moving forward. We'll still be keeping an eye on those pension liabilities, being able to make if you're able to make contributions in excess of what the actuary asks you to contribute. That will help with the funding status overall to improve that over time. And then as you've saved money over the years and you've delayed some of the capital improvements to really stabilize the general fund, there will be things that you'll notice that you'll need to start spending money on to be replenishing those capital assets, just like you did this year when you got some of that $600,000 debt that I mentioned for the heavy equipment for the Department of Public Works. Before I turn it over to Justin to go over the graphs that have the highlights of the general fund, in addition to the financial statement report, we also have an end of audit letter to cover with you. Most of the letter is very standard. It indicates that the audit went well, that we had no disagreements with management, that everything was in good order. There are two findings that I need to communicate to you. One relates to a segregation of duties matter. It relates to the level of computer access that the finance director has. She has the ability to make journal entries, and she also has the ability to grant access to others to use the financial software system. It's not uncommon to have that segregation of duties issue in a city this size, where you don't have lots and lots of resources, but to the extent that you could separate that so that she was not able to make journal entries and provide that access, that would be a best practice going forward. The other matter relates to journal entries. We did make some journal entries this year. They were related to year-end closing entries, primarily related to capital assets, debt, and the pension system. They're nothing related to the normal course of business of your budgetary day-to-day general fund operations. But whenever auditors make journal entries, we're required to mention that to you. So I'm doing that. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer that about what we've covered so far, or else I'll turn it over to Justin and he can go over the revenue and expense trends. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Again, I appreciate everyone's help in getting us through this audit. Lisa does a tremendous job, and Matt's help and with the rest of his team, it really goes smoothly. So we're out here for several weeks, and yeah, the questions don't stop when we leave the field, so we really do appreciate their willingness to help us out. So Kristen did steal a little bit of my thunder here, but I'll revisit what she just covered. So we're really pleased that the general fund started to stabilize. as you'll see here, we've provided a little bit of history for you just to show where the general fund was in 2014. You'll see that in 2014, the general fund was in a deficit of $736,000. And for each of the last 4 years, the general fund did add to its fund balance. In the current year, the general fund added about $689,000. And we'll talk about what the components of that in the upcoming slides. But overall, as Kristen mentioned, that 18% of fund balance, or of the general fund expenditures, that is at an adequate level, and we definitely encourage you to continue to manage that and consider the challenges that Kristen already mentioned related to the legacy costs and the capital improvements that might be necessary in the upcoming years. This first graph looks at the general fund revenue. Again, we've provided 5 years of history just for a little bit of perspective. A couple of one-time items, I'll call it, in 2015 and 2016, which might have inflated the revenue stream, was the Honeywell levy. That was a judgment levy in order to pay down some debt. We levied that property tax through property taxes, then paid that debt off. So there was a corresponding expenditure for each of those. In the current year, the total revenue did increase by about $775,000. Looking at the different components of revenue, I'll just note that your property taxes, which is the city's largest revenue source, that was stable in the current year as property values remain stable, which is a positive trend. As you'll note, over the last couple of years, that there were some minor decreases. There were some slight upticks in revenue. Charges for services, this increased by about $520,000, mainly due to increased charges for building permits and construction plan reviews. And then intergovernmental, this also had a slight uptick of $330,000 due to increases in state shared revenue and some additional state grant funding. But overall, the remaining components of the revenue was very stable year over year. From a general fund expenditure standpoint, the expenditures did increase by about $535,000 as well. The majority of that was related to the additional revenue that you generated through your building plan review or building permits and the construction plan reviews. In order to generate that additional revenue, we did have to generate incur additional costs of about $450,000. And then another thing I wanted to just highlight is that in the public safety section, you'll see that would have gone down about $700,000. It's important to note that in 2017, the general fund did make an additional contribution of $900,000 that we're going to see in the upcoming slides related to pension contributions that should have been made in 2016, but were delayed for a couple months and made in 2017. And that's really the fluctuation in that public safety line item. But overall, in 2018, there was really no significant cost structure changes from 2017. Graph 5, this does highlight the general fund's pension contributions, and this is in millions. As Kristen mentioned, this is one of the significant challenges of the city of Lincoln Park. For the MERS, it's currently funded at 21.4%, which is an increase of a little over 3%. And then the public safety pension system is at 29.5% funded. And you'll note that in 2018, the total pension contributions were $8.6 million, which represents about 37.5% of the general fund expenditure. So it's a significant portion that was for service that was either rendered now or in previous years that is really taking up a considerable amount of the general fund budget. In 2019, the city has, being consistent with the plan laid out by the emergency manager, the MERS contribution will be in excess of what MERS is actually requiring from an actuarially required contribution. So that's definitely a step in the right direction in order to increase that funding percentage. And then, as you'll note, that the public safety contributions, that's going to increase it by about $100,000 in 2019. And again, the city will be contributing or budgeted to contribute what the actuarially required contribution was. And then finally, I just want to touch on the city's water and sewer fund, which is a significant fund to the city. What we wanted to focus on here was working capital, which is just a calculation of what the difference is between your current assets and your current liabilities is. And you'll see that here it's $1.3 million. which is essentially just your cash that you've set aside in the water and sewer fund. And so that cash is going to be necessary for a couple of things. One, to pay your current bills, and then two, for any emergencies that were to come to the city. So that's a pot of money that we would encourage the city to try to build on, just for some reserves and then some additional capital projects that might be necessary going forward. But we definitely do encourage you to continue to review those rates in order to establish those reserves. So with that, if you have any questions on any of the financial statements are 80 to 100 pages long, so we'll refrain from going through those. But if you have any questions about any of the details, I'd be more than willing to answer those.
Hearing none.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right then. Moving on to our action items. Whereas the mayor and city council wish to schedule a study session to discuss the road bond project that was adopted by voters in 2013. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council schedule a study session to discuss the road bond project for Monday, January 7, 2019, 6:30 p.m. in the John A. Aloisi Council Chamber, 1355 Southfield Road, Lincoln Park, Michigan.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcedo?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. And then the next item that we have is whereas the mayor and city council wish to schedule a study session to get input from the citizens on the proposed joint court and police facility in its proposed location at Quant Park. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council schedule a study session to discuss the proposed joint court and police facility and its proposed location at Quant Park for January 3rd, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. in the John A. Aloisi Council Chambers, 1355 Southfield Road, Lincoln Park, Michigan.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, with this, this is going to be treated as a little bit of a town hall, so anyone wishing to come in to speak and be heard will be given that opportunity to discuss matters. It won't just be council discussing it, but we are looking for input from you also. Further discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcedo?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Fabulous. Next item has a cover letter from John Gassu, Director of Public Services. The State of Michigan Department of Transportation requires communities that have utilities in the state of Michigan right-of-way to apply for an annual permit to make utility emergency repairs in those right-of-ways. When emergency repair is needed, the City of Lincoln Park is still required to make contact with MDOT representative and provide notice that emergency repair is needed and the nature of the work. Okay, this is an annual permit for emergency work only and does not cover other projects that would require individual application. So here we go. Resolved, whereas the City of Lincoln Park, hereinafter referred to as governmental agency, periodically applies to the Michigan Department of Transportation, hereinafter referred to as the Department, for permits referred to as permit to construct, operate, use, and/or maintain utilities or other facilities, or to conduct other activities over, on, and under state highway right-of-way at various locations within and adjacent to its corporate limits. Now therefore, in consideration of the department granting such permit, the governmental agency agrees that 1, each party to this agreement shall remain responsible for any claims arising out of their own acts and/or omissions during the performance of this agreement as provided by law. This agreement is not intended to increase either party's liability for or immunity from tort claims, nor shall it be interpreted as giving either party hereto a right of indemnification either by agreement or at law for claims arising out of the performance of the agreement. 2, if any of the work performed for the governmental agency is performed by a contractor, the governmental agency shall require its contractor to hold harmless, indemnify, and defend in litigation the state of Michigan, the department, and their agents, employees, against any claims for damages to public or private property and for injuries to persons arising out of the performance of the work, except for claims that result from the sole negligence or willful acts of the department, until the contractor achieves final acceptance of the governmental agency's failure of the governmental agency to require its contractor to indemnify the department as set forth above shall be considered breach of its duties to the department. 3, any work performed for the governmental agency by a contractor or subcontractor will be solely as a contractor for the governmental agency and not as a contractor or agent of the department. The department shall not be subject to any obligations or liabilities by vendors and contractors of the governmental agency or their subcontractors or any other person not a party to the permit without the department's specific prior written consent and notwithstanding the issuance of the permit. Any claims by a contractor or subcontractor will be the sole responsibility of the governmental agency. 4, the governmental agency shall take no unlawful action or conduct which arises either directly or indirectly out of its obligations, responsibilities, and duties under the permit, which results in claims being asserted against or judgment being imposed against the state of Michigan, the Michigan Transportation Corporation, the department, and all officers, agents, and employees thereof, and those contracting governmental bodies performing permit activities for the department, and all officers, agents, and employees therefore pursuant to a maintenance contract. In the event that the same occurs for the purpose of the permit, it would be considered a breach of the permit, thereby giving the state of Michigan, the department, and/or the Michigan Transportation Commission a right to seek and obtain any necessary relief or remedy, including but not by way of limitation, a judgment for money damages. 5, the governmental agency will, by its own violation or request by the department, promptly restore and/or correct physical or operating damages to any state highway right-of-way resulting from the installation, construction, operation, and/or maintenance of the governmental agency's facilities, according to a permit issued by the department. 6, with respect to any activities authorized by a permit, when the governmental agency requires insurance on its own or its contractor's behalf, it shall also require such policy include name insured, the state of Michigan, the Transportation Commission, the department, and all officers, agents, and employees thereof, and those governmental bodies performing permit activities for the department and all officers, agents, and employees thereof pursuant to a maintenance contract. 7, the incorporation by the department of this resolution as part of a permit does not prevent the department from requiring additional performance security or insurance before issuance of a permit. 8, this resolution shall continue in force from the date until canceled by the governmental agency or the department with no less than 30 days prior written notice provided to the other party. It will not be canceled or otherwise terminated by the governmental agency with regard to any permit which has already been issued or activity which has already been undertaken. Be it further resolved that the following positions are authorized to apply to the department for the necessary permit to work within the state highway right-of-way on behalf of the governmental agency. DPS Superintendent John Kazoo, City Manager Matthew Kopler.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
These next two lines are going to cover different permit things. It is. It is. The cover letter would tell you why they're different. You wouldn't have to read them all.
She's right.
All right. Next item has a cover letter from, again, John Kazoo, Director of Public Services. The Wayne County Department of Public Services require communities that have utilities in Wayne County right-of-way to apply for an annual permit to make emergency utility repairs in Wayne County right-of-way. When emergency repair is needed, the City of Lincoln Park is still required to make contact with Wayne County and provide notice that the emergency repair is needed and the nature of the work. This annual permit is for the emergency utility work only and does not cover any of the projects that would require separate individual application. think this is a similar document to what the first one was. I will go with the first whereas here. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park, hereinafter the community, periodically applies to the County of Wayne Department of Public Services Engineering Division Permit Office, hereinafter the county, for permits to conduct emergency repairs, annual maintenance work, and for the purposes of local and county roads located entirely within the boundaries of this community, as needed from time to time to maintain the roads in a condition reasonable, safe, and convenient for public travel. And whereas pursuant to Act 51 of 1951, being MCL 247.651 et sequa, the county permits and regulates such activities noted above and related temporary road closures.
So move.
Support.
And that the contact first for necessary permits from time to time to work within the county right of way or local roads on behalf of the community is John Kazoo, Director of Public Services, and Matthew Koppler, City Manager. So we have oh, that's right, mover and supporter. Is there a discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Thirdly, also from John Kazoo, Director of Public Services, Wayne County Department of Public Services require communities that have utilities in Wayne County right-of-way to apply for an annual permit to make pavement, restoration, repairs in those right-of-ways. Emergency repair is needed. The City of Lincoln Park is required to make contact with Wayne County and provide notice that emergency repair is needed and issue the work. This annual permit is for the pavement restoration only and does not cover other projects that would require individual application.
It is identical to the,
Yes, and so I will
Yes, one.
do the first whereas, and as far as who has authority to sign for the right-of-way. So whereas the City of Lincoln Park, hereinafter the community, periodically applies to the County of Wayne Department of Public Services Engineering Division Permit Office, hereinafter the county, for permits to conduct emergency repairs, annual maintenance work, and for other purposes on local and county roads located entirely within the boundaries of the community, as needed from time to time to maintain the roads in a condition reasonable, safe, and convenient for public travel. And whereas pursuant to Act 51 of 1951, being MCL 247.651 et sequata, the county permits and regulates such activities noted above and related temporary road closures. And engineering division permits from time to time to work within a county road right-of-way have the persons that apply would be John Kazoo, Director of Public Services, and Matthew Koppler, City Manager.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from Matthew Koppler, our City Manager. As Mayor and Council is aware, the city recently asked for proposals from the firms to provide planning and economic development services to the city. 3 companies, Beckon and Rader, McKenna and Associates, and SafeBuilt, submitted proposals. A management team of myself, DDA and EDC Director Giles Tucker, Building Manager John Meyer, and City Manager Coordinator James Gallagher conducted interviews of the 3 firms to determine the qualifications and abilities and their best fit in our community. So, whereas the City of Lincoln Park recently competitively bid the provision of planning and economic development services, and whereas the city received 3 proposals from firms capable of providing planning and economic development services, each firm was interviewed by staff to determine their abilities relative to the needs of the City of Lincoln Park. Whereas following the consultant interview, staff reached the consensus that Beckon and Rader Incorporated should continue as the city's planning and economic development consultant, and hereby make that recommendation to Mayor and City Council. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council approve the agreement for professional services with Beckon and Rader Incorporated of Ann Arbor, Michigan, to provide planning and economic development services, and be it further resolved that Mayor Thomas E. Carnes and the City Clerk Carrie Kerr are authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the City of Lincoln Park.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item also has a cover letter from our city manager. Mayor and City Council met in a special session in November to discuss the proposed 2019 road improvement program. Hennessy Engineers presented different proposals, and the recommended program totaled approximately $1.7 million to complete. The rationale for the recommended option is that it provides the best mix of road reconstruction and road maintenance to improve stability and stabilize the street network in Lincoln Park. The recommended option provides for the following work to be completed: asphalt and milling resurfaces, total estimate of $795,130, would be Lafayette Avenue, Champaign to Southfield, Champaign Avenue, Fort to Fort Park, Buckingham Avenue, Dix to Porter, Wilson Avenue, Russell to Monty. And then concrete sectioning, total estimate $313,890. Philomene Avenue, Riopelle to Dix, Riverbank Avenue, Lafayette to Fort, Emmons Avenue, Dix to Winchester. And for road reconstruction, total estimate $602,045. And this 185,664, but that's additional. And plus $185,664 for water main replacement. This would be New York Avenue, Hazel to Helen, and Howard Avenue, Old Goddard Road to Ford Boulevard. Come on. So, whereas the mayor and city council met in a study session to discuss the options for the 2019 road improvement program, whereas the mayor and council selected the recommended option presented for the 2019 road improvement program, and whereas Hennessy Engineers Incorporated is the city of Lincoln Park's contracted engineering firm and will provide design and bidding services for the asphalt milling and resurfacing program, as well as the concrete section and road reconstruction programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Hennessy Engineers Incorporated to proceed with the design and bidding services for the 2019 roads improvement program at a cost not to exceed $103,700 to come from account number 450-000-821-000 Road Capital Engineering.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, next, under miscellaneous, whereas the mayor and city council wish to schedule a study session to discuss community development-related issues and opportunities with all relevant boards and commissions. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council schedule a study session to discuss community development-related issues and opportunities with all relevant board and commissions for Thursday, February 14, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the Senior Center at 3240 Ferris Avenue, Lincoln Park, Michigan. And be it further resolved that the Downtown Development Authority, the Economic Development Commission, the Planning Commission, the Parks and Rec Commission, and the Community Improvement Commission be invited to this meeting.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll. Oh,
Council,
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, do we know if the other commissions are going to be able to make that meeting at that time? Or do we already, we just passed this and we're
Yeah,
going to
we'll
ask
be,
them,
yeah,
right?
and we'll be
Okay.
sending out invites to them right away.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, fine. Further? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, then. It's gone. We have, all right, we have, we have the accounts and claims, give me the original. Okay. All right, sorry for the delay. Resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. BSNA Software Annual Support Service Fees, $35,803. DVM Utilities Incorporated, Saw Grant Sanitary Sewer Cleaning, Television Investigation, $25,436.29. GV Cement Contracting, Dog Pound Foundation, $43,606.50. Gorno Ford Incorporated, two 2019 F-550 and two 2019 F-250, $235,852. Great Lakes Water Authority, October 2018 water, $199,494.31. Hard Rock Concrete, 2018 road construction and water main displacement, $243,276.51. Hennessy Engineers, General Consulting, $300.08. DSWD TAC and AWG Consulting, $37.84. Saw Grant, $1,833.48. Saw Grant Cleaning and Utilities, $774.40. Kennedy Memorial Roof, $158.40. Gould Avenue and Monty Avenue, $10,176.54. Concrete sectioning, $8,522.58. Lafayette Avenue intersection, $10,127.50. 123 Net Underground, $454.08. Comcast Cable Plan Review, $400. Auto Repair Plan Review, $250 for a total for Hennessy Engineers at $33,034.90. KS State Bank Annual Debt Payment for Freightliner Gap Vax Truck and Water Repair Truck, $109,248.24. MERS November 2018 Defined Benefit, $206,503.02. City of Riverview October 2018 Dumping Services, $28,535.58. And I'll move on this.
Support.
Okay, I figured that there will be some discussions. We'll open that up.
I have a question, Your Honor. The KS State Bank, that annual debt payment, how many more years do we have on that?
And we have Lisa Griggs, our Finance Director.
Good evening. That was a 7-year loan, and this is our second payment, so we should have five more after this. You're welcome.
Okay, we have further discussion?
I have another,
Oh, sure, go ahead.
thank you. On the payables journal, we have the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority for $174,807.57. That was not included on this. And DTE Energy for a vendor total of $60,915.37 that I'd like to see added to the resolution.
Okay. Mr. Copper, could you touch on that? Or Lisa? It's, I guess why it wasn't initially listed.
I can't speak to why the Downriver utility was not included on there. I did check with payable. I was in and out of the office the past couple weeks, but I do have that amount there if we want to include that on there. As far as DTE goes, we do not usually include the utilities on the resolution because of timing, and when we get the bills in, we only have a certain amount of time, and depending on when the council meeting falls, sometimes we'll get hit with late charges. So going back to the emergency manager, we always had the authority to go ahead and pay the utilities, as well as health insurance payments without including them on the resolution. So that's why those were not on there.
Well, I know the streetlights I've seen on the
Yeah, the
resolutions.
street lights, but not the regular utility, the
Right,
gas
that's
and
okay,
electric,
but
yeah.
I know that, well, even the streetlights, it's 43,746.
Right.
So
Yep,
is there a reason why that wasn't?
Again, it looks like it was just overlooked. We did talk about it today, and going forward, those we'll even include the utility payments on there if you would like. But keep in mind that if we do that, because of timing issues, we can't release the checks until they're approved. So there could be
I don't think anybody
late
wants to
fees.
go to where we're doing late
Okay.
payments or anything of that
Right,
nature.
So the street lighting, they're a little bit more lenient on that one. The electric and gas bills monthly, those are the ones that we would get hit with the late fees. So I'll make sure that the street lighting is on there going forward, as well as the DUA. I think they were just simply overlooked.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Could you, include them in the next month's bill with a note that the late bills for
For which one?
that is one you just said, that we're gonna be late paying them, we don't wanna do that, so could you include that in the next?
Well, they would still be, they're still always included on the actual accounts payable report, just like anything under 25,000 is on there. So they're always reported to council that when the payments are made. It's just,
Late, right,
right, no.
sorry.
Okay, thank you. So it would be your wish to amend it to include
Yes, the,
street lighting?
yeah, DTE for the streetlights for November 2018.
And then the
You need the
DUA?
amount?
Well, it would be the $17,169.06.
For the streetlights is $43,746.31.
Oh, I had it inverted. So 40, okay, to include 43,746.31.
Yes.
The other was
Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority.
for the 174,807. Okay, do we have support for the amendment?
I'll support it.
All right, further discussion on the amendment part? So we're voting on the amendment, not the total package. So this is on the amendment only?
Okay. Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Breeding.
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So now we will be entertaining a motion on the original accounts and claims payable as amended.
Okay.
All right, clerk call the roll, please.
Mayor Carnes,
Yes.
Councilman Salcido,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
and Ross.
Yes.
All right.